here.
All right. Thank you everyone for making the time today, this evening, wherever you are in this world, to have the opportunity, a really cool opportunity, I may add, to be able to speak to some of the administration and coaches at Oak Hill Academy. You know, really great opportunity we all have. We're joined by Catherine, who's the director of missions at Oak Hill, Mike Rodgers, director of mission and marketing at Oak Hill, along with Todd, who's the associate head coach for advancement. I think Coach Cliff will be joining us in a little bit, and then we also have Coach Yerrick Stoneman, who is the head coach at Oak Hill. So really excited to have you all on this call. Just my personal experience, having grown up in the United States, having gone to high school in the U.S., it really is an important thing to have the opportunity at that stage to really go to a place where you're in a thriving environment, from the standpoint of education, the structure, that an Oak Hill provides for students and student athletes alike. And then obviously for student athletes, giving them that head start of what it takes from an academic standpoint and a sporting standpoint when looking for those opportunities to continue on at the next level, the collegiate level. So I'm going to hand it off to Catherine to get things going. But I do appreciate you guys all making the time. Just one last note as well. You guys should see something on the far left of your screen where it allows you to enter into conversation. So any questions that you have, just put them in there, and after the presentation we'll go over those questions. We'll have a little bit of a Q&A, and then I just seen some questions actually pop in right now. Can you guys hear me? At least everyone that I can see.
Yep.
All good. James too.
Yep. All good.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll hand things off to Catherine. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Great. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Catherine Gizak, and I'm going to be sharing along with my colleagues here. We'll be going through a PowerPoint presentation, and then when we get to various slides, we'll hear from different folks. So when we get to the basketball slides, we'll hear from Coach Stoneman, our head coach, and hopefully also Coach Cliff Conley will be here at that point as well. So just to start from the top, Oak Hill Academy is a very nurturing community. And it is a school with a long history. It was founded back in 1878. We are a college prep school for students in grades 8 through 12. And our motto is the place where the student's potential becomes possible. And of course, as we know, a lot of times that potential is going to be athletic potential. In terms of location, we are in Southwest Virginia. It's one of the most beautiful places on the East Coast, I think. It is in the mountains. We have a lake right here on campus, and it is about 5 hours by car from DC. And if you're flying in, the nearest airport internationally would be Charlotte, which is about 2 hours by car. Just at a glance, we really appreciate our environment because it reduces distractions for our students, and we really value that, being that home away from home and also the school. We have about 9 students per class. At the most, we'll have about 140 students in our student body, a wide variety of courses, and we're at about 15% international students. So speaking of home away from home, it is a retreat-like environment here on our campus. We have 240 acres, and it is truly beautiful. What I really appreciate there is it is 100% boarding. So there's not going to be a day student population driving back and forth. Because of that, we have medical staff available, and most of the teachers also live on campus. Mr. Gizak was our principal for a number of years, so he's going to share briefly about the learning side of things.
It's good to see you all. We're glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us today. I spent several years as a principal here. I think the thing about our school that is really noteworthy is the quality of our faculty and the relational way that we approach education. We believe that the best educational outcomes stem from strong relationships between teachers and students. So you would find our faculty to be very accessible to our students, as Catherine said, just 9 students per class average. About 85% of our faculty hold advanced degrees in their content. And because we are an independent school, we are able to take a really personalized approach to the entire process of educating your children. It begins with getting to know them and know them well. Because of the size of our school, there is a very personal approach that we take. We know our students, we know their strengths, we know their needs, we know their dreams, and we do a really good job of creating an experience here and a process here that leads to them thriving while here and reaching their dreams once they leave. Part of that is individualized course scheduling. Students come to us all times of the year from all over the world. This year, I think we have about 17 different nations represented in our student body. So we are well equipped and very good at accommodating international students and students from around the country. All of them come from different academic settings. And so our guidance and counseling office is really, really good at measuring and understanding where a student comes from and creating an academic process here that dovetails nicely with what they need academically. We are a college prep school. What that means for us in practice is that every year 100% of our seniors are admitted to college by the time they graduate. The college acceptances here are rolling in every day. I was just looking at the list yesterday. It's an impressive list of where our seniors are being admitted to college, and we hope that your children will join us at some point soon. Our college application processes are very informed. What I mean by that is we have a college lab on our campus. It's staffed full-time by the director of the college lab, who works exhaustively with our students to help them find just the right college. And that doesn't even include colleges that are recruiting some of our student athletes. Our coaches are also experts in helping to navigate that process. Our curriculum is as robust as necessary. We can challenge the very brightest students out there. We can also, I think, do a really, really good job of supporting students that have need for additional scaffolding and help in the classroom. We have AP, that's advanced placement courses, honors courses, dual enrollment courses. In the United States, dual enrollment courses are courses that are offered in conjunction with the local college and that do stand in the place of a high school credit, but also generate a college credit. And so taking dual enrollment courses here at Oak Hill actually generates a college transcript that can be transferred to the college of your child's choice when he or she is admitted to the school. We have a number of face-to-face meetings with college admissions representatives that come to our campus. Our students are particularly well equipped and prepared for independent life once they leave Oak Hill. We'll talk more about that in the next slide. But suffice it to say that there are many colleges out there that are really eager to admit Oak Hill Academy students because our students are well equipped, not just academically, but from a social standpoint, from an emotional standpoint. Being at a boarding school, it has lots and lots of benefits for students once they get to be actually independent young adults on college campus.
Can I add something, Todd?
Sure.
As I understand, the audience is largely international here, and we all have perceptions of what a high school experience in the United States is, maybe from movies that you've seen. I want to emphasize that Oak Hill Academy is a very traditional, pure high school experience. Every student here is age appropriate and in high school. There's a school spirit on campus that, really you'll be making all of the memories that you might associate with high school life in the United States. We have a prom, we have winter dance, we have pep rallies, all of those things. And a lot of the school spirit obviously is directed toward our basketball program. But, you're going to get excited for classmates that are acting in school plays and all of the other activities that are going on here. So if you're looking for, or you have an image in mind of an American high school, that's Oak Hill.
Very good. Thanks, Mike. And just a point of clarification, I think Coach Stoneman there, you might see his name on his screen as Mike Rodgers. It's actually the guy sitting with the pictures behind him in the hoodie is our head coach. He'll talk to us in just a minute. So we are just continuing with a brief description of our academic program. We are a national test center for both the SAT, the ACT, the PSAT. All of those are really important college entrance tests. We also are a test center for the ASVAB test. And we do have, because the SAT and ACT are becoming, there was a time after COVID when some colleges were test optional. You may have heard that. But that pendulum is swinging back now. So we do have 2 times a year. We have the SAT and ACT prep classes that we offer right here on campus. We talked a little bit about learning support. And so some students that come to us have a variety of needs. Some of them are emergent learners. They're not quite yet ready to understand who they are and what they're capable of. So we support them very well. Some of the support that we offer is what we call organic. And so what we mean by that is all students benefit from these things. So small class sizes, you mentioned, individual attention we've talked about. We also have all of our teachers every day have a 30-minute office hours at the end of the school day where a student can go back to that teacher and basically have a one-on-one tutoring session at the end of the day. We also have every single school night a mandatory adult supervised study hall that pays huge dividends in student progress. We also have twice a week we have a peer tutoring. This is an opportunity for the students to get together with adult supervision and tutor one another in the classes that they're in. We match a student that may be struggling with a student that is particularly competent in the class, and that's a pretty popular program. For students that need additional help beyond the organic, we do have a couple of courses that we call ALS courses, or Applied Learning Strategies courses, where those teachers will sit with students, those are very small classes, and work with them exhaustively to build time management skills and organizational skills and create glide paths between where they are today and where they need to be next week. Next week, for example, is exam week. We're nearing the end of our first semester, so it's a perfect time to enroll at Oak Hill to begin the second semester. But so next week's exam week, and our ALS teachers right now are meeting with all of their students, creating study guides and glide paths that will get them to the maximum output on those exams next Tuesday through Friday. And then for students that have even more need for support, we do have a licensed learning specialist on campus who serves as the liaison between the student and the faculty and the family. And she does things like she will create alternative assessments. Some students don't do well on, say, short answer tests or multiple choice tests. And so she finds ways to extract the knowledge that students have in her classes. And she may recommend certain common sense accommodations like preferential seating or additional test time. So she works very hard with our students to make sure that they're cared for well. We talked about being a college prep school, and for most day schools and high schools, college prep means academic prep. But at Oak Hill Academy, our preparation is in 360 degrees. In fact, students spend more time outside the classroom than they do inside the classroom. So we have what we call a life skills curriculum. It's not scholastic in nature, but it is all about preparing a young person to be successful as an independent young adult. We know that when you step out of your mom and dad's house and begin your college studies and as an independent young person, the trouble that you have, the potholes that you may walk into, typically have nothing to do with your SAT score or how well you did in calculus. They have everything to do with how prepared you are to manage yourself. And so we spend a lot of time here at Oak Hill Academy outside the classroom helping students develop those skills that will be useful as they begin to learn how to manage themselves. We call it Adulting 101. And this is a great place to learn how to do that with support, to learn how to make your own decisions and take care of yourself and contribute to your community. And so we call that structured independence. We have this life skills curriculum that's delivered by our residential life staff. It's a very thoughtful, includes items such as self-advocacy, time management, how to contribute to your community, how to resolve conflict, all these sorts of modules that we go through built around our core values. We also have an advisory program here that's very, it's the best I've seen. I love it. We create we decide on a theme each year that applies to the whole school. So this year, for example, our theme is care. And once we decide on the theme in the spring of the year, our guidance department sets to work to create a customized, unique advisory curriculum for the following year based only around that theme. And so I think it's fresh every year, it's relevant every year, and we have advisory about once a week for about an hour.
We also talk about Oak Hill Academy as being a place where students can discover themselves. And part of that deals with spirituality and community service. We are a Baptist affiliated school, so students do attend church together on Sundays. That said, we're also a very welcoming environment of students of various faith backgrounds. And like Mr. Rodger shared, this is very much of a place of school spirit, as well as having the opportunity to participate in clubs and activities. So a variety of activities are offered. We will have everything from art club to leadership to skiing trips in season, weightlifting. So a wide variety of student activities are offered. And all students are required to participate in a club each week, as well as something that we call Warrior Wednesday each week, another activity time. We also emphasize the arts at Oak Hill. We have about 6 different art classes, including the Advanced Placement Studio Art class. We do an annual spring play with our theater program, and we have music offerings. And here are a few pictures that give a shot of the classroom and some daily life at Oak Hill Academy. So you can see the teachers are very much hands-on with the students. We have our 2 extra large size science labs that are fully equipped so we can emphasize STEM. We have a number of traditions at our school. The bottom middle photo shows the senior breakfast at the home of the president. Bottom right is simply just one of our normal meals in the cafeteria. Again, all students are boarding students, so we make sure to take care of them inside the classroom and outside for daily life. It is the place where students live. And so because of that, we want to have some healthy limits on technology. We have cell phone usage during the free time, basically. So students will not have access to their cell phones if it's study time, if it's sleeping time, if it's time to be in class. And the way that's managed is through our dorm life supervisors. They're called resident advisors, resident managers, and they are adults in charge in the dormitory. And so they will be available for everything that students need outside of the classroom. And here are just a few shots of dorm life. You can see.
Ms. Gizak.
Yes.
While we're going to lunch, I've got Saxon to come in. Saxon, and for the audience, Saxon is from Australia. He's on our national team. If you don't mind breaking just for a few seconds, and if anybody has questions, at least from a student point of view and why he came to Oak Hill all the way from Australia, and then Hamza might stop in on his way as well. And Hamza's originally from Egypt by way. He was born in Egypt, but he lives in New Zealand right now. But they'll be here. He might be here in a second. So if anybody wants to speak with or have questions for somebody who's a player and a student here.
Great. Well, if you could introduce yourself then and tell us a little bit of your Oak Hill story.
Hi, I'm Saxon. I'm originally from Sydney, Australia, but I came to America because it's where I've always wanted to be when I started my basketball journey, and my goal is to go to college here, and I thought the best opportunity was to come to Oak Hill, and the coaching staff and all the teachers have really helped me with what I need to know to be able to go to college. And I love it every day here. It's really different. I still get to contact my parents because it's still easy, but I do what I love here, and school's great.
just a quick question for you. Sorry, I just introduced myself. My name's Gavin. I'm the head of basketball at FirstPoint. But when coming to that decision to go to Oak Hill, obviously you could have finished out your high schooling days, in Australia. What was the kind of incentive for you or the motivation for you behind your decision to go to Oak Hill? Was it the structure or everything, just being able to be in that environment of playing basketball in America before getting to like the college level, or what was it for you?
Yeah, it was definitely the I needed some experience with American style of basketball because it's very different to my way of playing in Australia. No, I thought it would be better for me to come from an American school to go to American college rather than coming from Australia. And obviously everyone knows the history of basketball here, and it's nothing I could ever turn down.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we'll probably touch on it a bit, but yeah, the history, Oak Hill, I mean, it's most prestigious, basketball prep academy in the country. If you think about the alum that have gone through, whether that be a Rajon Rondo back in the day, what Jerry Stackhouse, most recently Cam Thomas and Cole Anthony. So, the list goes on and on and on. I don't know what the exact number is today. I think it's, at least Coach, Yerrick Stoneman's worked with 58 Division I players. I think he'll give me probably fact check me in a minute, but it is pretty incredible, and I could definitely see why, and you took on that opportunity to go to Oak Hill. So yeah, that's really cool.
Real quick, if you have this slide over it, we got Hamza here. Hamza's originally from Egypt, but is now living in New Zealand.
Hey,
Hey man, how are you?
good. Thanks. How are you?
Good. Well, yeah, I was just ask your teammate there. I just kind of want to get a little bit insight on what your decision was for why you chose to go to Oak Hill and take that step of really obviously going to an environment where there's that structure of and that development of what learning what it is to be a student athlete, in terms of taking care of your academics and your education at the same time. What was your reasoning for going to Oak Hill? And going, what was your process in that decision making?
I mean, obviously, everybody knows Oak Hill in the basketball world, so that's once I had to definitely chose it. But
how do you think it's kind of better preparing yourself to play at the next level?
I mean, for college, we practice smoking time a day. We gotta handle both at the same time, so it's gotta work on my time management and the workload, and yeah, so we're always on the road, so we got to be able to maintain grades while doing what we like to do. So it's just a good balance. It's really very similar to college.
Awesome, that's great. And then just kind of last question for you. We have a lot of basketball players. I've done a lot of travel this year. Whether that be out to the UAE or Australia or say Asia, for example, and there's a lot of interest in the idea of going to play basketball in the States at the collegiate level, but when speaking with parents, speaking with families, sometimes there is obviously a bit of hesitancy to go and play at the high school level. Would you say that maybe the style of play or just the development obviously at Oak Hill just is just further enhances has further enhanced your playing abilities and understanding what the style of play is required obviously at the next level?
Absolutely, no doubt about it. We work on individual stuff. We always watch film, and the coaches, of course, want to win, but they also care about like us individually and how we're gonna, translate that when we go our own ways after school. So, yeah, definitely.
And do you think, last question for you, but in terms of like the academic side of things, obviously when you get to the collegiate level, part of being a student athlete is making sure you're taking care of your academics, making sure you're getting to class on time, passing your classes, engaging with your professors to make sure you're, staying on top of your grades. How has for you has Oak Hill, helped you in that aspect in terms of like the academic side of things?
They're very supportive. They always make sure we're okay, and like we can always go get extra help after school if we need it. And it's just, yeah, the system here is very supportive of us, and we really have no excuse to not do well in class, I feel like.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you stepping in here and giving a little bit of your time.
No problem. Thank
I
you.
guess enjoy lunch.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
So we were just about at the point of our presentation for the basketball side of things. So I will hand it off to our coaches at this point. Coach Stoneman, if you'd like to share a little bit about the overall program, and then introduce Coach Conley.
Yes. Of course, I'm Coach Stoneman. I'm the head coach of the national program. Here at Oak Hill, starting next year, we'll have four teams here. One will be our national team. We have a red team, which is more of a regional team, and Coach Conley here, he coaches that. And basically they play teams, just about any team, anywhere from, 5 to 6 hours away from our location here. We have a white team, in which that's more of a developmental team. And it's still a varsity team, but they play teams more local, probably a 2-hour drive from campus. So the talent level that they play against is not as high. And next year we're starting an international team, and it'll be made up of all international kids, which, we're trying to get it to a nice high level where they're getting, they're playing teams that can also be on a national level. But, there's conferences that we're in, which is the EYBL Scholastic. It's named this year, but in previous years, the NIBC. And that's usually, this year we had 14 teams in it, and 10 of them are ranked in the top 25. So it's, that's at the high level, but also the national level, there's some other teams that are not there in the top 25. But still play at a high level and have a lot of Division I athletes there. That's where we're trying to get to that level with this team. But but with each kid, it's best for what each kid. So if an international kid came in like Hamza or Saxton, and they're good enough for what we call our gold team or national team, they're going to be put on that. It's whatever's best for that kid and their development is what we're trying to get to. Coach Conley, and I'll let him speak in just a second, but our red team is, maybe not have the accolades as our gold team or national team, but they've had several Division I guys, from anywhere from UNC Asheville. This past year, they had one of the former players play in the NCAA tournament with Colgate. Bowling Green, UVA. We've had a kid play at UVA. Josh Hall, who played his junior year here and then actually ended up repeating twice. He actually made it in the G League. So, even though that level is, one step below us, it's still at a high level. This year they have one kid from Madagascar who will probably be a Division I player. He's gotten several D1 offers already. And then another junior that has some D1 interest. He's repeating a grade, so he'll get to come back one more year, and he'll probably have a couple more additional Division I offers. But does anyone have questions for me before I turn it over to Coach Conley?
Yeah, we have one question here about just, in terms of obviously kind of balancing the basketball side of things and the academics, while being part of your program. Does the coaching staff have, do they put a focus on that in terms of coordinating with the administration and the academic, staff to help keep those grades up and keep them on the right track?
Yeah. So one is internal. We do have a grading policy that they have to maintain to be able to participate in athletics here at Oak Hill. So one, that's internally, that's a motivational for the kid. But also our class sizes are about 9 students per class, except for our strength and conditioning classes and our PE classes, there'll be a little more. But, the academic classes are small. Also, we have what's called an eighth period. We have 7 periods a day. Eighth period is when a teacher feels a student is falling behind. She can bring them in, or he can bring them in to, help with any assignment that they're struggling with. If a student doesn't do their homework, then there's mandatory that student comes back to 8th period to complete it. We also have 2 teachers here that are learning specialists. So if someone is struggling academically, Miss Martha or Miss Lee, they can always go to them and, get additional assistance with anything that they're struggling with. Also, at Tuesday and Thursday nights, we have what we call tutorials. Starts about 8:30 at night, and the students can go there. Especially with me, and I'm sure with Coach Cliff, academics is the foremost importance. They are student athletes, so student comes first. There's been times, especially we travel so much, our practice times actually run into 8th period. But like this week, we were out of school for 2 or 3 days this past week, so our students had to go back and go to 8th period yesterday and miss part of practice, but we refocused and brought them back in later that night. Another great thing that we have here at Oak Hill that's different than most, majority of our teachers are on campus. They, at dinner at night, they're going to be there. Students can come up and ask questions during that time as well. And, I think that's a huge benefit academically for our athletes.
I can add a little bit as my years as principal here. We check academic eligibility, athletic eligibility regular at every interim of each quarter. We check, and there were numerous times when a student athlete was technically not eligible to play. And I have to say, every time I reached out to one of the coaches about an ineligible player, 100% support, understanding, immediate camaraderie between the adults on campus. It's not in some schools you have some tension between the athletic department and the academic department. And I have to say, in all honesty, it doesn't exist here to the point where a few years ago, our team was heading off to the national championships in Florida. Our national team, there was one player on that team that was technically ineligible to participate by just 1 point in the class. I called the coach, trying to figure out what we're going to do together. And his first response was, fine. He just won't go to nationals. And that's no big deal. I'll tell him today. And I said, whoa. We don't have to necessarily go that whole route. And we made a plan for that student. So I think there's great collaboration between the coaching staff and the academic administration for the good of the students. And I'll say another piece related to that is our counseling department is really well versed at understanding what can be a pretty complicated pathway to NCAA eligibility. And so they're very strategic minded about the courses that students take, the core courses, which semester of their academic career they take them in. And because, there are for a certain set of our athletes, academic eligibility and NCAA eligibility are very important topics. So we pay very, very close attention to that as well. We're really expert in it. So that's a good question, Gavin.
And
Great.
One question some people might be asking is, how do we determine which players are on each of the teams? Yep. For me, for the national, I do go out and recruit. I'm looking for, the best players of the best players, whether it's within the United States or internationally. For international kids, a lot of times I'll receive videos. I'll try to make a judgment off of the video as best I can. But at any time, a student athlete can move up. So what we'll do at the beginning of the year, we'll have a tryout. And then every coach that is on campus is involved in 100% within the tryouts. Coach Cliff runs the tryouts. And so he'll give each of us 4 or 5 athletes to look at, to evaluate. Next day we'll evaluate, and next day we'll evaluate. So there's 3 different opportunities for them to be evaluated. And then from that point, we'll pick the best spot for that athletes. Sometimes, they might be up at a higher level, but they'll never play. Is that best for that athlete? And so we'll bring them in and we'll talk with them, which is best for you. And then also the second step is what is best for Oak Hill and us competing at a high level in each of, the three, actually now 4 teams that we'll have.
Coach, another question we have here, in terms of obviously the national team, those are the best of the best, as you're saying. In terms of the other teams, right? The question is, has there been players that aren't on that national team to still receive, basketball scholarships at the collegiate level, whether that be, D2 or NAIA or even in junior college?
Yes, sir. So, of course, I would say very close to 100% that are on the goal team, that have been on a goal team, that's usually received a scholarship somewhere, or an opportunity to play at the next level, whether it's a walk-on position at the next level. And these are D1 athletes, but, some have gone to D2. But with the other teams, like with Coach Cliff, for example, this year, like I said, he's got one kid from Madagascar that will have a Division I scholarship by the end of the year. He's already had offers, so he just got to decide where he wants to go on that. There's some other ones that are there that are probably Division III, Division II, and NAIA athletes that are on his team. Currently, right now, if you ask me on our third team, our white team, most of them are younger, 8th, 9th, and 10th graders. It would be hard for me to make that judgment on those teams off of that one. But typically, we don't have a senior that is on a white team that would have that opportunity, because we're going to move them up to the red team for that. Cliff, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'll add to it. Just some numbers behind it. I want to say over the past 12 years, we've had close to 40 just from the red team, our regional team alone, that have played college basketball.
Right.
And 13 of those have been Division I. You look at our team now, like you said, I think we definitely have one guy that will probably play Division I. Outside of that, most of our guys are going to play Division II, Division III, NAIA. And to sort of add on to the academic side, we both put a huge premium on academics. From the national team perspective, if you understand how college scholarships work at the Division I level, it's a full athletic scholarship. So as long as they are eligible academically, they can go to school for free. And they don't split up that scholarship. At the Division II level, at the NAIA level, they can split up that scholarship and have both academic and athletic scholarships to form a full scholarship for that player. So for me, it's even more of a premium for my team, just because most of my players are going to play at the Division II, the NAIA level, and the Division III level, where an academic scholarship could make them more marketable to a coach. So our principals check in their grades every interim. I'm checking them every 2 weeks, and I'm holding them back for 8th period to make sure that they have the GPA that they need to have to qualify for academic scholarships. Last year, our team GPA was a 3.65. It's a huge premium on the academic side, especially for the regional team, because of the caliber of player coupled with academics will help them get to that next level.
That's some great information, and just even my experience, these past 4 seasons, working alongside a lot of the players in the Miami Heat. You have a guy like Duncan Robinson, went Division III. I know many of you guys on the call would know that name, at this point. Max Strus, who now is, plays with the Cavs, he was at D2. So there's many different pathways to get to where you want to get to. Obviously Oak Hill's done a great job being able to provide not just, one set of team, but as you guys are talking about, 4 different teams to really maximize, your improvement, and your overall skill set. So thanks for sharing that information. That was really good.
One thing that some questions that I'm thinking of that some people on the call might be asking is, what about gym time? How much gym time can me as an athlete get in the gym? During the season, they're going to be an hour and a half to 2 hour practices every day, Monday to Friday. but also at 6 o'clock in the morning, the gym is open. I mean, so they can go 6 to 7:30, go take a quick shower, eat breakfast at 7:50 to 8:30, and then we start homeroom. So there's time there. At night, our practice times end around 8 o'clock, depending on the dorm parent and the athlete's grades. That gym is still open at 8 o'clock tonight till about 10:30 at night. A lot of times, we actually have two athletes from South Africa, and a lot of times they're like, well, are there other people in the gym when I want to get in the gym? And that's 100% true. We're going to have here at Oak Hill, you'll have 40 people, 30 to 40 people with the light dreams that you have. A lot of times, even in America, when you go to some schools, when you go walk in the gym, there's only going to be 3 or 4 other people in that gym trying to get better. It's not like that here. You're always going to have several people in the gym trying to get better. That's going to push you. You're not the only one waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym, get up shots. Coach Cliff has been great. He gets up every morning 5:30 to work out himself. And the gym's open. One of my players, Michael Robinson, is because sometimes he doesn't want to be. He needs to be in the gym by himself to get up the shots that he's trying to get. He'll come in at 4:30 in the morning. So the great thing about Oak Hill, the gym is almost always open unless it's during quiet time. And if they have the great grades, that there's an exception to that.
Another question we have as well, in terms of, I know you're talking about in terms of the national team, you go out and actively recruit. In terms of international players that, for the international team that you're looking to set up, I guess, for next year, how would you go about evaluating those players? That's a question that's come in.
I'll give you the perfect example for the two that y'all just spoke with. Saxton is from Australia. Saxton sent me some videos. Him and his dad sent me some videos. I was able to watch the highlight clips, and then I was able to see his athleticism, his footwork on his shot. Can he move laterally defensively? I was able to see that. Then I just asked, could he send a full game clip? And so he was able to send some of that. So I was able to evaluate him through that level. With Hamza came here during our summer school. He was here at summer school. He was playing with our coaches, some other students within the school at the time during summer school. And, he just said, Coach, am I good enough to be on the goal team? And I said, are you good enough? You're going to contribute. So, even he didn't know his level that we thought. But once I was able to see it, and Hamza right now, currently he's injured. But he's probably our 6th man on the team right now. So I think it varies on each way. If a student shows up here just like Hamza and he's good enough, he's going to be on the team. And it's best for Hamza to be on the goal team, and it's also best for our team for him to be on it.
Great. Thanks. See if there's any other questions we got coming in.
One here is about meal prep.
Yep.
So our cafeteria, we serve 3 meals a day inside our cafeteria. It's typical breakfast food in the mornings. They'll go through a line. In America, we typically have some sort of eggs, whether it's scrambled, fried, omelet style, to hash browns, to sausages, turkey sausages. Variety of those. We have cereal. We have a waffle bar in the mornings. Also a fruit bar during lunch is typical lunch food, whether it's, for what we say Taco Tuesday. We have tacos on like Tuesdays. It could be pizza, just typical lunch food. Also, we have a sandwich bar with a panini press that our kids really enjoy, soup bar and a salad bar. Dinner, you'll continue to have the sandwiches, the soup and salad bar, but more so it's more sit-down traditional American dinner food, whether it's fried chicken, baked chicken, fried fish, baked fish, meatloaf, mashed potatoes, gravy, just things like that is just a typical food for us. So it's 3 meals a day. Also, we have on campus is a school store that the kids can go in and get, microwavable food. If they're asking for other, if they're offered by, if they want something else, they can ask the lady and she'll pick it up at the store to sell.
Coach, I'd like to add something. We have such a big international population and a diverse American population too. There's a lot of food restrictions that our students might come with, whether it be for religious reasons or for health reasons. And our cafeteria staff is able to take all of that into consideration. So, for example, if you're allergic to gluten, there's always going to be a gluten-free option. During Ramadan, for example, obviously it's a different eating schedule. So, our cafeteria staff will take that into account as well. So there's always options that will accommodate individual needs.
Great. And then just going off kind of the food aspect, in terms of strength and conditioning and, when it comes to basketball players, getting them more prepared, what do you guys do? Obviously in season, there's probably less time for that, but in terms of kind of just the structure of that, how does that look kind of on a daily or weekly basis for you guys?
You want to talk on that? Okay. Our strength and conditioning coach is here, but we work alongside with Micah Kurtz. Micah Kurtz is one of the top, especially within high school, strength and conditioning coaches in the country. He's based out of Florida. He's a 2-time national coach of the year within the high school strength and conditioning world. He speaks at whether it's the NFL combines, he'll go and speak at those. He's been at the NBA combine. So we've had a relationship, especially Coach B. He's had a relationship for 30 plus years. So he comes up, we bring him up, and he designs our workouts for our kids based on the kid, not just, here's a whole basketball workout and you go. A center who has a 7'3" wingspan is not going to be doing bench press like a guard who is 5'8", 5'9". So, he takes in those considerations. He takes injury prevention in consideration, whether he's checking ankle stability to, the ACL strength of the ACL and the other tendons and ligaments around that, muscles around that. So for us, we have second period. All our guys are in one class, and it's easier for us to do that. And B-Rock runs his all the workouts there. He'll come up and reevaluate throughout the year for each of the kids. We send him our testing so he can see, all right, for example, for bench press, he's doing 135 6 times. All right, now we're going to reevaluate his number of sets and reps that he's going to do in weight that he's going to do in each new cycle. So every 6 to 9 weeks, we reevaluate the strength and conditioning part. Downstairs in our weight room, we have 4 universal racks. A lot of our stuff is used for power stuff, power cleans, hang cleans. We do a lot of split squats, things like that, it's not a lot of stress and that's on your lower back. So, it's a lot of injury prevention as well. We're sponsored by Gatorade. So, until it runs out, we give out, protein bars, protein shakes. So we get a certain amount each year. And once we run out, we run out, but we try to give them, especially early on in the year, as much of that as possible.
Coach, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but just another question I actually had sent to my phone, but someone who's in this webinar, they were asking about in terms of injuries. So say, someone comes from Australia, they're on the international roster you're putting together next year, and they happen to get hurt. How would Oak Hill's basketball program manage that, take care of that? Obviously, this question probably relates to health insurance, for a national student.
Actually, my wife is one of the ones that's in charge of the international insurance. So there's a certain fee that's involved in international insurance, as long as it's not pre-existing. So if they come over with that injury or that they have been seen in the country that they're at, the insurance will cover it. We are in, I'm trying to think the right word, but we work side by side with the local hospital, Ashe County Memorial. And our kids go to see Mr. Dustin, or Dr. Dustin. He's our physical therapist. So they'll go see him with any injury. He actually comes to all our games, our home games. He's here, and this is for all 4 teams. He'll be here for that. But if he sees the injury, he'll ask them to come in to be evaluated within the school, or school provide transportation to the hospital there where they'll be seen. Also, like say if it's something severe, they have a doctor who is actually the team physician for the Dallas Mavericks. So that's if it needs surgery. Of course, it's always in communication with the parents what's best. But with Dustin and with the doc there, it's always sports related. They're looking at what's best for them overall as an athlete. So if it's a minor ankle sprain, something, to that effect, we're looking at, how can we get him back on the field the quickest, but what is the safest for him for long term? For example, Hamza was on the call. Hamza, over Thanksgiving break, he actually stayed with me and my wife. Both him and Saxon stayed at our house during break, and was able to use the gym. But he developed. Luckily, we found out it wasn't a stress fracture, but we've had him in a boot for 2 weeks now. But he went and had MRI done this week. We've already got a plan laid out for him on how to recover and get back to the quickest. So those are the things that we can provide for any, whether it's American or international student who gets injured.
All right, and then just last question is actually I want to touch on recruitment for going from Oak Hill to say the collegiate level. Obviously, at FirstPoint, a big emphasis for us is providing those collegiate pathways in terms of the form of scholarship for international students. So, in terms of what you guys do, obviously, the proof is in the pudding in terms of the players that have gone through your program in the past, and obviously, to this very day. What in terms of when you're getting to that final stage of looking at options at the NCAA or NAI level, what is your guys? Do you guys have a recruit or like a recruitment coordinator, or how does that work for you guys? Is it kind of a team effort? How does that work for you guys when helping prepare players to take that next step?
I'll let Coach Cliff speak first.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys see me over there?
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So for our guys, like I said, the regional team, they're looking for that first offer. They're looking for that opportunity. So I always tell them I will work as hard as you do on, however you want to get recruited. I have them watch a webinar from that I did last year with a close friend of mine who's very in depth with college recruiting from all levels. We watch it together. They take notes. So we teach the individual how to get yourself recruited, number one. So how to send an email, how to send a direct message, highlight film, what to put in the highlight, what not to put in the highlight. We tackle all of those sorts of things from an individual perspective. And I always say, if you can create your own highlight video, then you don't have to wait 2 weeks to pay somebody else to get the highlight video out and then go do it. So, we try to streamline that process as much as possible, teach the individual person how to help themselves get recruited. We use social media a lot, and I encourage our guys to do that as well. So for me as an individual coach, I'm reaching out to all of my contacts that I think, if I think a player is, maybe a low mid-major Division I player, then I'm going to reach out to all of my contacts in that area as well as Division II and maybe some NAIA coaches as well. So, anybody that I have a direct phone line to, I'm calling them. I'm messaging them, emailing them, those sorts of things. If they have a list of specific schools that they want to look into, then I will, I'll email and follow up on that aspect too. My assistant coaches will do the same. So, I can't guarantee that, hey, you come to Oak Hill, you'll play college basketball. At least I can't do that from a regional team perspective, but I can say we will teach you how to get recruited, and we will help you as much as we can from our end to get you there. That's what we can help provide.
Awesome. All right, guys. Yep.
Well, I can give a little bit on my end, which we're a little bit unique than the red team, is the fact that college coaches will come during the recruiting season open session where they can come in and we'll have them watch our practice within our conference high level. So they know that they'll come to the games. Like last week, we had Nebraska come in to watch one of our kids to make sure that, one, you can play at that level. But also we use what's called synergy, and every college coach has that, so they can go and view our games or, clips of each of the kids.
Awesome. Well, thanks guys for, providing that information. Well, before we hand it off back to Catherine, do you guys have anything else you want to say before we move on here? Catherine, you want to take things over then from here?
Sure. I'll just wrap this up. We're at the point of doing the basketball as our next slide when Hamza and Saxon came in. So that worked out great. The only other thing I would mention is we are a small school by design, so we are able to offer rolling admission. We are still enrolling for spring. We also are enrolling for summer. We have 2 weeks of basketball camp that happens in the summer, and that is open to international students as well. I would love to share more details with you about that if you're interested. And then, of course, we are receiving applications for next fall.
Well, that's actually some really great information, Catherine, because I think that's probably the number one question I'm getting from international players right now is, I want to go over to the States in the summer 2024 or even 2025. What camps are there to offer? So it's great to hear you guys have, a summer camp that, some of these players could,
If you don't mind,
hopefully hear more about.
I'll add to that too. A lot of, especially from the regional team perspective. So I do some recruiting as well. Now everybody's going to try out, but I recruit through social media and through people send me emails, all that sort of stuff. So if we think that they're capable of playing at either the regional team level or our white team level, I always encourage them. Hey, I can watch you on film, but if they're an international player, especially, it's hard to really tell the competition level. So I've always encouraged guys that, that we're really interested in. I would strongly encourage you to come, to at least 1 week of that summer camp, not only for us, but for you. You get to come to school, you get to live on campus for a week. You get to see what we have for meals. All of our coaches are on campus. You get to interact with all of them. So we get to evaluate you for a week straight, and we get to coach you, and you get the experience of what it's like to be at Oak Hill. I always encourage people to do that in the summer. That's where I do a lot of my evaluating, is in that summer camp.
Yeah, I think that would be a really beneficial experience for a lot of these players. I think when looking at going to the States and doing basketball camps, getting that type of setup where you're really getting a glimpse of what it is to be a student athlete at Oak Hill versus, not to say, just playing 5v5 for a week straight, isn't productive to an extent, but you're going to get a lot more out of Oak Hill's summer camp program, where you're really getting an understanding of what it would be like to potentially, for example, be at Oak Hill full time.
And that will be in June. It's roughly the second and third week. It runs Sunday through Thursday, and we'll share that information with you after the call too.
It's actually June 9th through 13th, and then June 16 through 20.
Okay.
And when does registration open for that, Coach?
We're working on that currently right now. I'm sure if they just send an email, we can get all that information. But I'm assuming it should be up before the 18th of December.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, and I can maybe speak to you guys a little bit more about later some of the different obviously countries that these players are from. Their school years end at different times, so can maybe kind of get into more detail about that to help some of them out at a later time. So, Catherine, Coach, Yerrick, Cliff, anyone else want to chime in before we kind of wrap things up?
I just want to make an open invitation to any of the families. We would be very happy to have a personal conversation that's related to your student athlete. We're very accessible, so reach out if you want to talk to us, very personally.
Great. Well, I really appreciate the entire staff at Oak Hill for providing this opportunity to speak. I know we probably ran a little bit over time, but it was really an informative session. Much like my experience when I went to Baylor University in Texas and was part of the basketball program there, just as kind of a student manager. That whole idea of preparing champions for life, that's something you clearly see, is taking place at Oak Hill, both academically and on the basketball court. So I really, appreciate you guys making the time. And, for anyone who, obviously wants to engage further with Oak Hill, we'll have further communication in regards to that, because, I think it'd be a tremendous opportunity for many of you to get that opportunity to speak with them and find out more and go from there. So thank you everyone for making the time today or this evening, like I said, wherever you are. And we'll wrap things up. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.